Lighting system. All right, we're live here with Dr. Jim.
Thank you for having me, Pat, as always.
Always a joy, Jim.
Right.
Always a joy.
Right.
We're testing the new streaming software, gentle listeners and watchers. So please be patient with us. And we have a Q&A planned. I have
Excellent.
lots of questions. Not a
Excellent.
single one of them is easy. Most of them are philosophy related.
Good.
So we should get warmed up a little bit. Jim, how's your training been this week?
Good, man. I've had a good jiu-jitsu week. So
tell us about that.
Well, just well, first of all, my knees like pretty close to 100% now. So I had a little knee tweak about a month ago, and that's working its way through. So I've been able to train pretty much 100% all this week. And for me, I'm trying to get in a better habit of not just doing the stuff in the gym that I know that works, right?
Yeah.
And trying new stuff. And what I do is like for instance, about a year ago, right after I got my purple belt, as a blue belt, I very rarely finished arm bars. Okay, so I very rarely finished guys' arm bars, and I was kind of like, yeah, arm bar's not my thing. And after I got my purple belt, I'm like, well, saying the arm bar isn't your thing is like saying jiu-jitsu is not your thing, right? I mean,
kind of what you do.
Yeah, you gotta, you have to have attacks of the arm, right? So I went like a whole winter where all I did was just throw up shitty arm bars every roll, and then I started to get them, and so it was about 3 months of nothing but arm bars. And nice. So yeah, and this winter it was something called a knee cut pass. I really worked hard on the knee cut pass, and I've kind of got that where I want it. And so now I'm working on back attacks. So
nice.
Finding the back, finishing from the back, that sort of thing. And so, I was not finishing stuff today the way I wanted to, but I was finding the positions I wanted and, and knowing my partners. So this is good. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. In my generalist book, when it comes to skill development, I talk about this method that I came to appreciate as a musician. And it's always trying to integrate, right? So as a musician, like we don't want to just play scales and modes all day long because that's not really music, right? We're trying to make a song at the end of the day. Same thing with jiu-jitsu, you're trying to win a fight at the end of the day. Right. But you do isolate weak spots.
Yes.
And when you find a weak spot or area you improve, you do have to practice it in isolation or a more isolated environment to really improve it. So if I'm trying to learn a certain song and it's like, oh man, my sweep picking isn't up to speed, I don't keep practicing the entire song. I take that passage out, I take that technique out, and I hammer the hell out of it, right? To the point when I can reintegrate it. So I want to get back to the integration as quickly as possible, but the practicing things in isolation has always been, for me, in music and otherwise, a really important part of the self-improvement process. And it sounds kind of like you do a similar thing in jits.
Yeah, I mean, now once again, I am a lowly purple belt, so any black belts listening, I'm happy to be corrected. Okay, but, I think you have to drill. Okay, especially old people like me. I think you have to drill because you don't learn things with 1 or 2 reps. So I before I practice, a lot of times I will get there early and I will find some victim that will let me drill something 50 or 100 times on them. Right.
Yeah. Drilling is huge. I'm a big fan of drilling. Yeah.
And this is something, because I do teach some fundamentals, I teach a beginner's jiu-jitsu class at our gym. And I always tell them, I'm going to show you the 9 steps to the triangle choke, none of which actually exist in the wild. Okay, so we're going to drill this so you kind of understand what's going on. But when you find it in an actual roll, it's going to be strung together in this moving situation. So you have to drill, but then you have to go out there and you have to roll around with people, and you have to start throwing the techniques out there before you feel like you're ready to do them.
Yeah. How important that is for all of life. I mean, and how I want to spend some time on this. I think this is huge. Drilling, right? I don't like that's all I did. Not all I did, right? But in Taekwondo, we drilled our kicks over and over and over again. In music,
there's only so many times you can kick your partner in the face in Taekwondo.
Right. I mean, logic, right? Like everybody wants to learn logic. Nobody wants to do their Euler circles. Yeah. Right.
Exactly.
Like you gotta do the damn circles, right? And then like that isn't how I guess when you get in an actual argument, you're not bringing out the diagrams. I hope not at
Yeah.
that point, right?
Right.
But it's
Right.
doing those drills that make you competent in the real world.
Right.
For anything that I've gained any competence at, and I'm not claiming great mastery, it's only because I was willing to drill.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And at least in the jiu-jitsu example, and probably in music too, is you have to teach your body what the position is that you're looking for. Okay.
Right.
And literally, let's say you go from playing a regular, traditional closed guard to now you're going to play an open, like a De La Hiva guard. There's different musculature involved now. There's different things going on in your abs and your hips and stuff like that. And you probably need to condition those muscles to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just literally build up some strength there.
Yeah.
And you're going to do that. You're going to do that with the drilling,
Right on.
And one thing my black belt coach is big on, and I've always been big on even before I had the good fortune of meeting him, is you should have intentionality involved in your practice, right? If you don't go into the gym every day, say the jiu-jitsu gym, or I would even say the kettlebell gym, okay, right,
Mm-hmm.
and with knowing what you hope to achieve in that practice, like what am I coming here to work on, right? You might get better without a plan like that, without an intention, but if you do, it will be accidental.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be like only by chance will you get better. Okay. And I've found, you've got to get over in jiu-jitsu, and it's probably true in so many things. You got to get over ego, right? I mean, that's true in everything. Okay. And if I'm going in there and all I want to do is win rounds against my teammates in the gym, I'm putting scare quotes to the listener, win rounds, my teammates in the gym, then I'm not going to get better because I'm just going to use the same stuff that I've beat them on 95 times. Okay. And they're only going to use the stuff they beat me on 95 times. And we're all just going to, it's just all our roles are going to become completely serialized, and they're just going to be wear and tear on our bodies that don't do any good. Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I have to go in there and say, if I want to get better at the knee cut pass, even though I know I suck at the knee cut pass, I have to go in there and commit to finding that and doing it, and finding that and doing it, and getting whipped because I'm botching it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think you have to go to your partners and say, look, I'm working the knee cut. Can we set up that situation, right? And then I'll roll another round with you later and we'll set up your situation. But I'm not going to waste our 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes of this round on our just trying to act like it's a tournament. Right?
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
No, that's brilliant. Yeah. Uh-huh. I mean,
for me, I always come in with a plan, and before I fist bump for a roll, I like to declare what we're doing here. Right?
Yeah. Hey, real quick, people who are joining us live, we're going to take some of your questions. If you have questions, put them in. We've got some already. I've got some that I've taken from email and Instagram.
Cool.
We'll start with the fitness stuff. We'll get to the heavier philosophy and theology stuff as we move along. But one more thing I want to say about this. Imposing restrictions to improve effectiveness and efficiency, I think, is good. I remember this is another lesson. I'll go back to music. My my guitar instructor in high school called me out for just being too much of a shredder at one time. He's like, Pat, speed is not your problem, right? Clearly you cut your teeth on the thrash mode. He's like, you need to learn to slow the heck down, right? And play more melodically. And he was right. I didn't want to hear it, but he was right. Yeah. So what he said is for the next however many lessons, I'll forget it was, you're playing with one finger and that's it. Yeah. Right. And I'm going to make you solo with one finger, and we're going to switch the finger. And so he imposed arbitrary restrictions to help me focus on what was an obvious weakness. And it did. I had to really think about my note selection a lot more, and the timing and the spacing between notes, because he knew what my problem wasn't. This is what, and it would have been a waste of time to just do general improv, right? Because he knew what I would do in general improv. I'd start shredding all over the place, right? So no, all right, we're going to take this away from you. Yeah. Right.
Let's take away your regular game.
Yeah, maybe in jiu-jitsu, you're great at the armbar. We're taking that away. You can't use that anymore.
Yep, exactly.
Do you do that?
Oh, yeah. So my thing, and if there's any competitors listening, please turn off the sound. My thing is what's something called half guard. I play deep half guard, and I was trying to earlier this year. Once again, I was trying to use some different guards, and I just denied myself half guard. If I got into a situation where I was going to have to go to half guard, I would let my partner pass. Mm-hmm. Say, okay, you won because I'm not using half guard. All right, so you're going to pass, and now I have to pay the expense of not having a backup to half guard, and have to get out of this bad spot. Yeah. I think it's really important to say I'm going to take my number one thing and I'm going to put it on the shelf for 2 months.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. All right,
Yeah.
good. Same page there.
And it will still be there. It will be there when you go back to it.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. And like, even if it's a little bit rusty, it's because it's a thing you're awesome at. Like, you'll be awesome at that thing again in no
Yeah,
time, right?
exactly.
Like, you get the awesome thing back easy. Stefan says, what time is it at your place? In Sweden, it's 8 p.m. It is 1:13 here.
It is 1:13 here. We are in the flyover country of America, both of us.
Corn fed. Stefan also wants to know, what's Jim's favorite swing other thing variation?
Swing, pull up.
Yeah. How do you like to do the pull-ups? Do you do them in ladder, straight sets, or?
If I'm gonna go, when I've done the swing other, which I think is brilliant.
Why, thank you.
It's really cool. I would have quit the show if I weren't for that. No. I like to go for 30 minutes. That's kind of I've found swing other for 30 minutes is good. And if I'm going that long, I'll do it in straight sets, right? So I'll go, set of swings, and then, 5 to 8 pull-ups.
Nice. Yeah. For those who are unfamiliar, I mean, you shouldn't be unfamiliar because I've done like 3 podcasts, maybe even 4 on this protocol recently. Minute 1, like 10 swings, minute 2, like 10 swings, minute 3, some other thing. And then you just repeat that structure for, I'd say anywhere between like 12 to 30 minutes is going to be really worth your time. I love.
I will say this weekend, I was actually just thinking this driving home from the gym that I think I'm going to go swing, get up this weekend.
Yeah, so there's 2 ways that I think would be cool to do it. One is just your standard. I'm just going to do 1 get up, right. Next round, I'll do 1 left, relatively heavy. Take your time, make it look beautiful. Another thing that I like, and I think maybe I got this idea from Maxwell originally, is light get ups, but for speed as a conditioning tool.
Yeah.
So not going too heavy, and then just for like 30 seconds, so like for half of the minute, how many can you get consecutively by getting up and off the ground beautifully as quickly as possible? So
I've been really into the get-ups lately, where I've been trying to work through different weights of get-ups and stuff.
Right.
Because I think there's value to working all these different weights and stuff like that, rep ranges, and I'm going to try that speed get-ups on the minute, or swing speed get-ups.
Yeah, you could do like one day the heavier, one day the speed. All right, Daniel, this one will be for you, Jim. 37 rotator cuff issues. He wants to get started with jits, but he feels he might be too old and is concerned with injuries. What are your thoughts on that?
Go to the gym today and train. Do it. I was 43 when I started, right?
Oh, you really? Interesting.
Yeah, 43 when I started, but about to turn 43. Yeah. Do it. I mean, there's people with rotator cuff issues. You're going to have to take care of that. You're going to have to, be smart about when you're training and all that. All the doctor's advice stuff applies, but 37 is not too old to start jiu-jitsu. I was in my 40s when I started.
I feel like Maxwell, who I think he's got a championship to his name of some degree, but he's done well. I feel like he started like 40 plus as well.
Yeah. He might have been younger than that. I know he's talked a lot about,
he definitely didn't start young. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
He definitely didn't start young.
So look, I was actually just talking to the homeboys at the gym about this morning.
To the Humbras?
Yeah, the Humbras.
My YouTube channel is called Sup Mahumbra, right?
Nice.
Which is just like my AIM screen name from the 6th grade that I was too immature to ever change. Yeah.
I love it. When I was in 6th grade, we didn't have screen names. We just watched Rocky IV. I
still watch Rocky IV.
I know, and we were better. But anyways,
right? You were.
Yeah. So I mean, I think there's virtues to starting. Like my youngest son Cormac when he was 6. Okay, I think there's virtues to starting when you're like me, and I was pushing my mid 40s when I started because, the young kid, it's going to be if it sticks, it's going to be just this way of life for him his entire life, right? Or her, right? But also, for me, starting, I mean, when I meet people my age who've been training jiu-jitsu since they were in their late teens, a lot of these people are really beat up. They're really, really beat up. Okay. Because think of it like the guys who are my age who've been training for like 20 years, they're talking like Jocko Willink here. You're talking people who are training with the Gracies in Southern California in the moment of jiu-jitsu in America. But a lot of those people have like a lot of accumulated injuries, okay, which I don't. Okay. And so I might actually have a better shot of doing this fairly high level in terms of training a lot and hard into my 60s, right? Than maybe somebody who started in their 20s or their late teens did. Okay.
Right. Who had a lot more testosterone than brains when they.
Yeah. And so I've had to, from the beginning, and I have at times failed miserably at this, but I've had to really think about longevity from the start and train smart and all that. Whereas, when I was 20, oh man, I think me doing jiu-jitsu when I was 20 would have been a disaster, right? In a lot of ways. So,
yeah. Like that was my thing with Taekwondo. Like, I don't care how hard you kick me, right? Because I think I'm invincible. Pay that price, right?
Yeah.
So anything I do now, like there's something, the wisdom here is that there's actually potential benefits to be had by starting some of this stuff later because you've lived, right? You realize that wear and tear is a real thing.
And in my case, just the fact of the matter, when I was in my early 30s, I had too many babies and not enough money for jiu-jitsu. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So it just wasn't there. And you have to take things as they actually come to you in your life. Yeah. But at 37, you can get hella good at jiu-jitsu. You are still a young man and you can be training and you can take care of that shoulder and do it. By all means, do it. Do it.
Totally. All right, let's take one from Instagram. This one says, instead of swing other thing, can I do swing other thing swing? I mean, you could. Nobody's going to stop you.
But it will become then swing other thing. It's just because like the minutes are going to flip. Did you sort of,
right. We got you.
Either way, you're going to do 2 sets of swings interspersed with something else, unless you put a minute break in there or something.
Right. Yeah.
But I think that misses the spirit of it.
Yeah, there's just something, and it was something I really just stumbled on by accident, just playing around with the EMOM, where I'm like, wow, like the 2-to-1 ratio here of like swing other thing. And I've had this affirmed by pretty much everybody else who has done this. Like there's just something magical about that type of rhythm. Yeah.
Well, I really like it because it's that fine line. It's between cardio and strength. It's that what the strong first people are calling the strength cardio or cardio strength, whatever it is, where if I do swing dips or swings pull-ups, my heart rate's probably in that magic zone that whole way, never going to the red line, right? But I'm still getting, because I'm using my 28 kg, I'm still getting some good quality strength work in there. So it's a lot of bangs for the buck. It's cardio and it's strength all in there at once, and it's got that rhythmic click thing going, which is so good for our brains and so good for our mental health. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Mauricio wants to know, I love jiu-jitsu. Can you address having a daughter participate in contact sports? Would you allow your daughter in contact sports?
I can show you videos of my daughter Martha when she was in 7th and 8th grade submitting male high school wrestlers. So yes. Yeah, exactly. No, she's a triangle killer. She's very good with the triangle. So I think having Martha do jiu-jitsu is one of the best parenting moves that we've made. Yeah.
Yeah. You do it as a whole family, don't you?
We do. Yeah, you bet.
That's beautiful. That's awesome. Yeah. So short answer here is yes.
Yes, do it. Yeah. And now look, if you're not comfortable with your daughter rolling with boys and stuff like that, okay, fair enough. I think you're missing out on one of the great benefits of it, of her understanding that she doesn't have to be afraid of men. Okay.
Right.
And that there are most men she'll be able to kill with her bare hands.
And very practical self-defense utility in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Like very practical.
Yeah. But most gyms will say, hey, if you're not comfortable rolling with somebody, we're not going to force it. So, if your daughter would rather only train with females, or you'd rather only have your daughter train with females, that no gym is going to say, no, we won't allow that. Okay. No good gym will. Right.
Right.
Jiu-jitsu is about being comfortable in your skin. Okay. And they're not going to ask you to be uncomfortable in your skin. Right. And so, have her do it. Bring your wife, right? And go train. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. By the way, I agree with everything you say. So I'm just going to go to the next one. All right. Herb, Italbivore. I hope I'm pronouncing that somewhat right. Single biggest bang for buck exercises for push, pull, and lower body. You want to take the first swing at this one, Jim?
So assuming we're talking upper body pull, because and lower body, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would go kettlebell military press, the pull up, and the swing.
Yeah, that's hard to beat. It depends what you're looking for, right?
Yeah,
so I'll talk like personal favorites. I've said this before. I love dips. Dips are my favorite upper body push by far. And I think you get a lot of bang for buck in terms of dips. Great range of motion. You can load them with the with the big heavy diaper. So I would say dips, chin ups. I actually like chin ups more than pull ups.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, I use pull up as meaning all pulling myself.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I vary my grips quite a bit.
Yeah. People are just the pronated. This is technically that's what people call pull ups. Supinated chin ups. Actually, if I have a favorite, it's rings. I like rings because then you get
I've been digging the wide parallel grip lately.
It's cool. Yeah. I mean, if you really press me, I'm going to say both and, right? Yeah, but if you're like, Pat, we're sending you off to a deserted island, you can only take 3 things with that stupid question, right? Then I'd probably just take chin ups. A little more bicep pump, and nothing wrong with that. So dips, chin ups.
Mrs. Flynn thanks you.
Yeah. Got to give her something to look at. What's going on here? Lower body swings are hard to beat, man. Yeah, I'm probably with you and again, like most people, most of the time, right? If we're talking like general population looking for general physical preparedness, I might even throw dips out of there because then it's like you need the special equipment and just say kettlebell, pull up, press and swings. I think those are the killer apps.
I mean, if you ask me like just one thing, just absolutely just one thing, I might go the deadlift, right? But once again, there's always these equipment issues and stuff like that. Yeah. Here's a virtue of the dips that I think people miss because they have this reputation of being shoulder wreckers. Okay. But just like the pull-up, there are different grips you can have in the dip that might make huge differences on what it does to your shoulders, right? And 2, one of the things I like about the dip is I'm in control of the range of motion. Like I can decide, my shoulders don't want my arms to go all the way parallel here, so I'm just not going to do it. And last time I checked, there's no gold medal for dips in the Olympics, right? Yeah, but whereas like with a kettlebell press, which is my favorite push, I'm pretty much I have to at least in the initial rep get that thing to here and go all the way through the range of motion. So if my shoulder doesn't like that bottom, I do have to tax it, even if I jerk it there a little bit. Whereas with the dips, you can be in complete control of the range of motion. You can find a range of motion that works for your shoulders, which I think that's a virtue people miss of it.
Yeah, I just did a bunch of dips yesterday. I just went on a crazy dip spree. Feels
Better
good.
boy.
Feels good.
And are those weighted dips, Pat, or those body
yesterday? No, yesterday I did tempo dips. So I just did some very slow, just try to make them like, I have this thing where I like imagine that all the eyes are watching. I got to do the prettiest dip in the world, right?
Yeah.
So I tried to do that, and then I just rested a little bit, and then I did some fast ones, right? So like those kind of tempo sets. We talked about that before. Yeah. Just felt good, yeah.
Every day I walk out of the gym,
will be coming up next week at this point.
That's nice. Every day I walk out of the gym and having not done dips, and I think about you. I'm like, gosh, I keep thinking I should get back to the dips because Flynn's doing them, and there's got to be something more to it.
Yeah, for me, why do I like the dip? One is because I'm good at it, right? It's like part of the reason I don't like the barbell bench press is because I suck at it. Like I'm not going to impress anybody, but I think I can legit impress people with how much I can dip. Same thing with pull-ups and chin-ups. Like I'm very strong at those movements. So part of it's that, right, which maybe isn't great. The other thing is it does just feel great for my shoulders. Like I can do a lot of dips. I can do heavy dips. I don't get any weird neck tightness, which I will get from military pressing. Yeah. Past a certain rep range and volume, I get really tight from military pressing. So military pressing for me is typically low rep. I'm fine there. If I start really pushing hard with that, then I think I told you when I was in college, right?
You had the neck.
Yeah, the professor's like, what's wrong with this kid? He's always like twitching. Well, my neck was always so freaking tight, right? So I love dips because they feel good. They hit all the muscles I like them to hit. I can get a lot of strength out of them because I can load them heavy. So it's a lot of that's, I guess, preference. But I mean, they are a great exercise. Yeah. They recruit a lot of muscles. You can use a lot of weight. So there's nothing really to dislike about dips, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, let's switch back to Instagram. Pat Ghostal, not this Pat, different Pat, wants to know, most kettlebell workouts I find are circuits. Besides time, are there cons to using kettlebells in straight sets?
No. I mean, I do more straight sets in kettlebells than I do circuits.
This is what I have to tell people because a lot of people know me for complexes. And I have to remind them that not everything needs to be a complex.
Right. Yeah.
Complexes are great. Circuits. So real quick, for me, a complex is usually when you have just a single implement, right, and you're just kind of flowing through different exercises. A circuit to me is when you have like different stations, if you will, right? Like we got barbell clean and jerk over here. We got battle ropes over there, and then we kind of run through. I don't know if that's the way you think about it, Jim.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah. So circuits and complexes are great. They're cool, but it's hard to beat straight sets for certain purposes. It is, like, especially if you just want to do like a big lift, you want to go heavy with it. Just do straight sets with adequate rest in between.
You know, and another thing too, and Pat, you'd be able to speak this better than I do, but I think you know, the savvy listener, okay, the person who's not a beginner, and I think one of the problems in the fitness world is everything's oriented to the beginner, or much of it's oriented to the beginner, right? Probably, and it has to do with where the market is, right? But you know, for the savvy listener, I think you have to be conscious of are things being structured because that's kind of the best way to package it for the audience that is mostly trying to be addressed in this, or is that really the absolute best way to do it? And we've talked about this where, like, a lot of times I do stuff in my life that I know is not the absolute best way to do it because I just know that's how I have to package it, so I'll pull it off so that I'll stick to it. Okay. And you know, a lot of times when I'm understanding this more and more as I go down this kind of, you know, fitness professional rabbit hole, you don't know how much equipment people have. You don't know how much time they have, right? You know, people generally want stuff that, you know, that they can get done fairly quickly with minimal equipment. And things like complexes, things like circuits are very, very easily packaged, you know, for like a universal audience. Does that make sense?
Oh, totally.
Yeah. And so, like, a lot of your videos that you put out, they're great stuff, but you're only assuming the person's got one kettlebell, right? And they want to get this done in 15 or 20 minutes and do those workouts. That'll be great. But that doesn't mean it's the best way or the only way to do it. It's just that this is the way that Pat can get some awesome delivered to his people. Okay. Does that make sense?
It makes beautiful sense. And it's, yeah, I mean, it's like, look, restrictions, you know, various lifestyle considerations. You know, when I'm putting out a workout, I am making a number of assumptions, and I think my audience is smart enough to know that, right? Is like, could you get better results from a routine that is meticulously designed by a college sports coach for somebody who has an hour and a half to work out and train every day than Pat's 9-minute kettlebell workout? Well, yes, of course. But most people aren't interested in that, and they ain't got the time for it, right? And they don't care about the differences in terms of results between that type of thing, right?
The guy who needs that has a strength coach at the University of Alabama, right?
Right. Yes.
Probably national championship ring too. Okay.
Right. So, you know, my general assumptions for my channel and my audience, and I think they're good assumptions because this is what people tell me that they want. They're busy. They have minimal equipment, often just 1 or 2 kettlebells. They don't care about being the biggest, strongest, leanest, fastest, but they do want to be leaner, stronger, have a little bit more muscle, right? Feel better, look better, have more energy, right? So then it's like, okay, here's what we could do in a perfect world, right? Get all Leibnizian, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If someone said, "Hey, I want to get as strong as I possibly can," I would say, "Well, then what you need to do are like singles, right? And take 10 minutes between them, okay, and dragged out over a number of hours, okay." But that's not what people want, and it's not going to be a way to make a living in fitness, nor is it going to address most people's needs. So I think going back to the original question is, circuits, complexes, that they're great, they're awesome. Right, but do note that there are other ways to do these things, and there might be even "quote unquote" optimal way to do these things that are different. But that's usually for very advanced, very specialized people.
Yeah, very cool. All right, let's. Well, shoot, Jim, we're doing a lot of fitness questions. Do we want to keep on the fitness stuff? Do we want to turn to the other? What do you think?
Let's knock out some fitness. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, let's just keep doing with this. Yeah. This is feeling good. All right, so we're gonna.
We've been heavy philosophically lately, so maybe.
Yeah. That's fine. That's good. All right.
And maybe we could do a philosophy Good Friday tomorrow or something.
Yeah. So let's do this. I know I promised some people an email. Mm-hmm. And there's one guy in particular I'm talking about, and he knows who he is.
You know who you are.
We will tend to your question because he's coming into the Catholic Church this weekend.
Yeah. So I definitely want to talk about that.
Yeah, so we'll get to that. But we're just going to keep this one fitness theme because there's just a lot of good. I'm enjoying this theme right now.
Yeah, I feel like we're making ground and like explaining stuff to each other.
Yeah. This is cool. All right, so guys, if you just have any fitness focused questions, put those in. I'll be scanning for those. We'll just keep that the focus of this one rather than going all over the place. Stefan says, Jim, could you or Pat handle Duku challenge these days? And what are your opinion on Apex Hills from TV?
One, yeah, I could do it today. I would not train jujitsu well tomorrow, but I could do it.
Yeah. All right. I don't know what this is.
So the Duku challenge is it's one of the challenge workouts in K Black's tactical barbell for conditioning. I think there's a YouTube of me doing it. And you take like the absolute, best you can do with it. You take the 48 kg, you take the beast.
Right.
You do 10 goblet squats at the bottom of your hill.
Okay.
You then shoulder that thing and jog up the hill. You do 10 squats at the top. You shoulder it. You walk it down, mind you.
Right.
And then do 10 goblets. You go 10 rounds of that, but you never put it down. Right. So you never put the beast down for the whole thing. I have done it once. Right. Vowed never to do it again, but I could do it right now.
You have told me about. I remember this now. You've definitely talked about this before.
Yeah. Apex hill sprints I think are awesome. And Apex.
Jim?
Pardon me.
Did we lose Jim?
No. Did you lose me?
He'll be back.
Do you have me? No, I lost you.
Sorry about that, guys. Okay.
You have me? Yeah.
Yes, we're back. Okay. Yeah, that was freaky and weird, but I think we're okay now. Everyone all right? Can we get a?
Yep, I got you.
All right, sweet. Okay, so yeah, I was saying this is coming back to my memory now because you've definitely shared this horrific challenge. So
right. And okay, Apex hill sprints I think are great. Okay, now let me say this: something like the challenges in K Black's conditioning book, and K Black will tell you this is like. These are not things you do to like train. These are not things you do to get better at things, right? These are things that you do to find something out about yourself. Okay. I did all that stuff pre-jiu-jitsu. Like I find plenty about myself and my character, like, getting choked by guys half my age now. And also he has in mind people getting ready for doing like high level military selection courses and stuff like that. Okay. Totally. So yeah, so I could do it. I've done it. I have no need to do it again. I don't know how much I even recommend people doing these things, right? Unless you have this need to find something out about yourself and you don't have another outlet to do it. Okay.
Right.
Now, Apex hill sprints, I think, are a great training tool. Okay. And what an Apex hill sprint is you put a kettlebell at the top of the hill, you sprint up the hill, you get up there, you do 10 swings, you jog back down, you repeat as many times as you can, right?
Yeah.
There's a hill right outside my office right now. It's about 200 yards. I've done that thing 20 times. Doing swings with the beast at the top.
Nice.
Yeah. And once again, that's a little far. Okay. But once again, I still think that was a legitimate training session. And if I had to do it today, if my knee were 100%, I could do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that hill sprint swing combination, I think is a great tool. Right.
Yeah. Sprints. I'll actually, Jim, keep talking for one more second. I'm going to grab something real quick. Yep.
Yeah. And I like the hill sprint for the sprint because I find it's lower wear and tear on my body. Once again, with putting the swings at the top, you check pretty much all your boxes you need to. You get some good strength work at the top. You get some good, anaerobic cardio interspersed with some light jogging as you get down the hill. So I think Apex hill sprints are one of the absolute best workouts there are. And in my book, Ageless Athlete, I actually have a program for it, like how to periodize your Apex hill sprints, how to like work it in a sensible way so you're not just giving yourself a beat down. Right? So anybody interested in like actually programming and using the Apex hill sprints, check out, there's a chapter on them in Ageless Athlete.
There we go. All right,
Yeah.
that's better. Sorry, I just swapped out. This looks there. There we go. We're getting, as you can see, we're moving things around with the new streaming, and we can see Super Mario in the background there. You should.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah. Make the background is. I realized I couldn't keep up with you on size of bookshelves. So I'm like, I need to change it up.
Yeah,
right?
well,
Right. If you can't be better, then be different. That's.
Give yourself 15 more years, you'll catch up.
Yeah. Right. Are you? By the way, I thought you were off this week. Are you in the class?
I am. I came in. My wife was working online at home, so the quiet place was taken, and I had people coming and going in the downstairs. So.
Word. Okay, are you guys fans of Steve Maxwell? In recent years, he said that he regrets in years of kettlebell, I guess his years of kettlebell training, as it injured his shoulder. I was surprised to hear this. So, I like Steve. I did Steve's certification years ago. I guess I am still technically Maxwell Club something certified. I also did a number of workshops with him. I did one body weight workshop and one, was it a club? This was a long time ago. Enjoyed him very much. So yeah, I like Steve. I like Steve's work. I haven't kept up with him recently, so I can't speak on anything recently that he's doing. Look, people jack themselves up with a lot of implements. So, you know, I don't see that as a mark against kettlebells per se. He probably was just imprudent in his programming or how he used them at the time.
Didn't he say he thought it was the snatch in particular, that he had just done too many snatches and had switched to high pulls at one point to not put so much?
Yeah, maybe, you know, for me, like if I kept doing the type of pressing routines that I was talking about right in my early 20s, I'd when I was like, by the time I'm 50, I'd probably be pretty jacked up, right?
Yeah.
And that's not the kettlebell per se. That's a programming decision.
Yeah.
So I've just realized, okay, this is just how I need to approach that exercise from here on out.
So I work with kettlebells, I work with steel maces, I work with steel clubs, and I work with calisthenics. Okay. And I keep kind of all of them in the mix at all times, and I emphasize one over the others at various times. And I also give myself complete breaks of, like 6 weeks from every one of them periodically, right? For these reasons, I don't want these bad overuse things. Okay. So I don't train with barbells anymore, partly because I trained with barbells for like 30 some years. And I think if I had to do it again, I would vomit, right? Though I think barbell training is great. I think if you want to get strong, I think like really full on, I need to kick a door down strong. I think the barbell is the way to go.
Right.
Stand by that. But I got away from it because I realized it was starting to hurt me more than it was helping me. And so I think you need to keep a lot of implements in your mix. I think you have to be willing to be a good Pat Flynn generalist, right? Short-term specialist, back away from things when it's good to do so. And as far as Steve Maxwell goes, I think the guy's great. I mean, everything I've read from him, I've found insightful. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we'll get him on the show at some point. It'd be cool.
That would be cool. I would love that. I would love that.
All right, let's keep going, guys. We'll keep taking questions here for probably about 20 minutes. So if you got anything fitness related, we're going to do a separate philosophy and theology one, maybe tomorrow.
Yeah.
Maybe tomorrow. So, okay, I guess this is a hypothetical that we could entertain for at least 30 seconds.
Sure.
Who would win in a fight between Dan John, Mark Rippetoe, Pavel, and our good friend Al Kavadlo?
Pavel, right? Pavel, period, right? I think they'd be sweeping the other guy's eyeballs up. I mean, like, I think Pavel probably makes my list of like top 20 people I'd last when I'd be in a street fight with, right?
Right, yeah.
Nothing against the other guys. I don't want to fight any of those dudes, right?
Yeah. No, shout out to Al. Al's such a good dude. I don't know Mark Rippetoe. Obviously, I know Dan very well. But shout out to Al. If you guys had checked out Al's stuff, he's just got, he's got these videos of him. Like, I called him this one time. I don't know if he took it as a compliment. I meant it as a compliment. I'm like, Al, you're like the Mr. Rogers of working out. He's just got these happy videos in the neighborhood park. Just we're working out. I'm like, it's just such a good spirit about the guy. I love the dude.
I've read a bunch of Al's stuff. And I like his stuff. And every time I've read one of his little books, I've always thought, God, it would be fun just to kind of hang out with this dude. I just kind of want to get to know Al. So
he's just fun. Yeah. Like he just treats working out as play. And I think there's just a lot to that, right?
That's kind of where I am now. A lot. Ross and Mike got there too. We're just, let's just go outside and play and use these like funky toys to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing too, though. Okay. I know that the gentle listeners is just having fun with the question, but I think this is an important point, right? being good at working out does not make you good at fighting.
By no means.
Right. I think there's a mistake a lot of young men make about this. Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Getting big and strong is, might be useful in a fight if you're not facing somebody who knows what they're doing. Okay. And also, you could be big and strong, and fights are very uncontrolled situations, and who knows what's going to happen, right? So,
Right.
yeah,
And like generally you don't want to get in a fight, right? Like
no,
most of my people I know who are very good at fighting. My old coach Brian Petty, he was a bouncer for a long time, and he's like, "Look, most of the fights I got into, I didn't know I was even in it because I was blacked out. Somebody came up and just hit me over the back of the head with a bottle,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And that was
yeah,
the end of it, right?"
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I have to say, like getting way down the jiu-jitsu rabbit hole and like hanging out in MMA gyms and stuff like that, and kind of being behind the scenes in some fights, like MMA fights, stuff like that, makes me less likely to want to get in a fight. Because having rolled around with like people who, I've been training jiu-jitsu for 4.5 years. I'm a fit guy, all that, and just having felt what like people who know more than I know can do to me, right? Is humbling. And in a street situation, you don't know what you're dealing with. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good sound advice. And any martial artist should be teaching their students that point.
Yes.
If not, then you need to find
Yeah.
a new place to train.
Yeah.
There's a question about Hegel, but we'll say that
For
for
sure.
tomorrow.
But do save that though.
We're
Do
not
save
switching
it.
gears today. We're not switching gears today.
Yeah.
David Falk wants to know, how would you train for the tactical games? Think farmer walk, climbing over walls, rope climbs, dragging sleds, picking up sandbags, all while carrying your rifle and pistol, shooting a course.
Join the Marines. They'll get you ready for that, right? Someone know,
I mean, the first thing I'll say is like, don't forget the law of specificity. I think a lot of people think like the carryover it's a thing, but it's a very limited thing.
Yeah.
If there's something you need to do and you know that there's a task in that something, you need to practice that task specifically, right? Like you need to practice climbing over walls. Yes, pull-ups will help for sure, but you just need to practice. And the more you practice specifically, the better you will do at that event. Now, if it's totally blind and random, then do as much generalist stuff as you can. A lot of pulling, a lot of hanging, a lot of climbing is generally useful. There's a reason that climbers dominate Ninja Warrior, right? If people don't notice that, the people who dominate Ninja Warrior aren't climbers. It's the climbers, right? There's just a lot of functional carryover to the grip strength and the pulling strength and stuff like that. So I would just emphasize, if you know what you're going to have to do, find ways to imitate that and train that as specifically as possible. Focus on that primarily, and then fill gaps with wherever else you know that you're just lagging.
I've never done this kind of competition, but I'd want to get pretty skinny. Okay, because I guess depending on how long the running is, right? But getting over that wall, climbing the ropes, right? I guess you have to pick up sandbags and there's sled dragging, but I think just overall good cardiovascular fitness, right? Good body composition, I think would pay off big time in this sort of thing.
No doubt.
I also would want like really good background aerobic fitness so that you're able to catch your breath in a hurry. Okay. Because I think that's going to come up, because I think that's one of the problems with the shooting part is when you come off your sandbag cleans, your heart rate's huge. So you're all over the place with the firearms. And I think just having that good background, low gear, long, slow, boring cardio, right? Having that box checked probably makes a big difference there.
Yeah. So train on the extremes at some point, right? So like have this would be a good instance of where the high intensity kettlebell complex train would make sense. But then supplement that with the low gear. What is the long boring, as people call it?
LSS. Right? I would do, depending on how far out you are from the game, Dave, I would do a 6-week base build, like what K Black outlines in Tactical Barbell 2. Do a 6-week just cardio base build, then switch into your more anaerobic, strengthy kind of stuff that you're going to do for these events. Right?
Yeah, sweet. Keep us updated on that, Dave. That sounds like a cool thing. I'd like to hear how it goes. Yeah, sorry if that's not as detailed as we could make it, obviously, but I see oftentimes people preparing for some specific event and ignoring the things that are in that specific event.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'm just going to do kettlebell complexes and crush this thing. Well, hold on. Like, okay, you'll have good like general capacity, but you'll still be weak at that very specific thing.
If you want to be good at sport, practice the sport.
That's right. Yeah. Cool. Herb's back, says, have you guys done much rope climbing in the past? I'm planning on getting super good at foot-free rope climbing and using this as my only pulling movement. No, I've done very little rope climbing, to be frank.
I have an 18-foot rope in the backyard, and all my kids by their 8th birthday can climb it.
I wish that was the standard for me as a kid.
Yeah. And I used to climb quite a bit. That was a regular part of my pulling, right? Now I find with the wear and tear on my hands from jiu-jitsu and that, one of them had to go, right? So I don't climb very much anymore. But rope climbing is a big part of our family life, and it's something I've done quite a bit of, yeah. And I got to where I could do it in like the L position to get up.
Yeah, I can do that. I was able to do that. So that was something that was interesting, because that was something I was kind of just able to do without doing it very specifically, just because I was really good at the ab stuff, really good at the climbing and grip stuff.
You strike me as you'd be like really good at the gymnastics stuff. Yeah.
That's what people have told me. I am like, I'm good at the handstand push-ups. I'm great at the rings. So there was a missed career opportunity there, I think.
I knew I wasn't a fat person anymore when I could climb the rope with no hands.
Yeah.
I remember having that. Oh wait, I'm probably not fat anymore.
Yeah. If things that like Pat Flynn could have been competitive of, like could have been in like the broadly logically possible sense, right? Gymnastics is probably one of them. Powerlifting, there's no possible world.
Yes, the squat. I bet you don't like the squat.
The squat is tough. I'm not the strongest deadlifter. So like tactical strength challenge, right? Like pull-ups and snatches. I'm super competitive. Deadlift, I'm mediocre. That's going to be the lagging thing for me. If you were to put in a back squat, no good. It's over. So we've got our strengths and weaknesses. I'm not a huge fan of back squats anyway, so it doesn't make me too sad. Apologies for the mispronunciation there. Asked, could you please suggest a warm-up and cool-down, or please suggest warm-up and cool-down videos and their duration for kettlebell training? So let me say a few remarks about warming up. I think about two categories of warm-ups that you should have, right? You should have your general warm-up, and this is just get the juices flowing. Jumping rope, hanging, crawling, rocking, bouncing on a mini trampoline, right? Just literally warming up. I think crawling, hanging, and jumping rope are three great options there to just turn things on and to be turned on, right? Spend a couple minutes doing that. You don't need to be obsessive. Some people are like warm up freaks. They warm up for like 57 minutes and have like a 3-minute workout. It's like, okay, you should be in like an elder's facility or something. And then, so you have your general warm up, have something like that, but then also have your specific warm up, right? So whatever is on the menu that day, you need to do at least a few light sets just to make sure things are feeling good, right? So if like, okay, you did your general warm up, now you know you're going to be pressing, you got to get that kettlebell and just the light one and just groove it and just see, and just so that way, if like anything's off, it's going to be identified. Like, okay, I better spend some more time on that before I.
It might tell me I have to call it off for the day. Like
it might, It's like this just isn't going to fly today.
Yeah,
100%. So that's my general broad strokes of how I think about warming up. Jim, I don't know what you would add to that.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. You know, for kettlebell warm up stuff, I like the goblet squats. I like the halos. Right.
Yeah, awesome.
I'll do a lot of like from a beast or a bear position to a mountain climber. I'll do a lot of jiu-jitsu-y kind of stuff to get the heart pumping, get that stuff going. And I'll tell you, a lot. Some days, man, if I get through that and things don't feel right, like, hey, guess what? I stretched. That's good. Moving on. Right. But then just start building there, add some weights to it, et cetera, et cetera. I like, once again, I mean, just in general, leaving aside my current Turkish get-up jag that I'm on, I like doing some get-ups for a warm-up. I think there can just be no better full body engagement. Reveals what does or doesn't hurt today, that sort of thing. Lately, I've been doing, 3-4 days a week, like a 20-minute mobility / calisthenic. It's really more of a workout than a warm-up, but I think because of my fitness level, it's more on the warm-up side for me than it might be for a lot of people. which I like a lot. And I think it's really added a lot. And so I'll do that and then follow it with about a 30-minute strength workout. So it's a little longer than what people want, but I mean, just the point being, there's a lot of days where technically the quote unquote warm up is 20 minutes for me, but is it warming up or is it working out? It's working on other attributes too.
A little bit of both. Yeah. One that I like, you could do just 10 minutes of this, is just get ups, 2 minutes as slow as you can, but move the entire time, right? So it's light. You're moving as slow as you can, but never stopping, right? So it's just going to be this very flowy, continuous thing. But then the next 2 minutes, it's as fast as you can. 2 minutes slow, 2 minutes fast. 2 minutes slow, 2 minutes fast. Cool. That's a phenomenal. And that isn't just a workout. A warm up. That would be a pretty decent workout in of itself.
Something I use diagnostically is if I can't get into like a good, I guess they call it third world squat, right? That that really deep, hold it position squat. That's telling me maybe I'm not warmed up enough, or maybe like swings or snatches aren't a good idea that day.
Yeah. Herb wants to know, are muscle ups a worthwhile movement for total upper body strength, hypertrophy training? Are they more of a party trick? Are they worthwhile on the risk to reward ratio? No, I don't think so. And this is somebody who loves to do muscle ups, and I'm really good at them. But if I'm just being frank, I don't think that it's funny. I tried to hear somebody say that they tried to sell the muscle up, like, this is why you need to do muscle ups, because it helps you with specifically that jujitsu strength, that really proximal pulling shit. I'm like, you just do jujitsu for that. It's just like, if you just want to like get good at pulling that close, then you just grab somebody's shirt and be like, you're not going anywhere, bud.
Grab the gi and pull your opponent in, right?
No, I think it does. It can put some weird stress on the elbow in certain angles. I almost never program it for somebody unless they're like, Pat, my life will not be complete until I do a muscle up. And I'm like, all right, fine, we can work on it, because I don't think it's so high risk that I would feel irresponsible programming it. I think you can responsibly get muscle up safely, but I think it's just one of those things that muscle ups just make you good at muscle ups, and there's no other really functional carryover.
I mean, the muscle up would be pretty damn cool to be good at. I mean, I'm not saying it isn't like a worthy gymnastic skill, but unless you're interested in training gymnastics for its own sake, and that's a great thing to do. But I wouldn't use muscle ups to get better at something else.
It's funny. The muscle up in gymnastics is really just a setup, right? It's not like something that they score points on, right? Like the muscle up is not an impressive thing.
Like gymnasts must be laughing at the muscle up crowd.
It's like me putting my guitar on my body, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you tied your belt, big deal, right? It's like it's the belt tie in jiu-jitsu. Right. But now I'll say this: I've tried to do muscle ups, and oh man, I have never got the timing down, and I realized I was going to break my neck if I kept doing it, so I backed out.
Right. I haven't done them in a minute.
I do them on rings. I can't do them on a bar.
Yeah, I think ring is where you would want to go if you're going to do muscle ups. Now, ring dips and pull ups by themselves, phenomenal. Phenomenal. A big fan. But yeah, I just don't think whatever marginal utility you get from the muscle up justifies it, unless you're just like, I just need to do the muscle up, right? Cool. Dave says, thanks, guys. I've got Tactical Barbell, so I'll revisit. Make sure you grab Jim's book. Jim, give a quick plug for your book.
Ageless Athlete. Tactical Barbell presents Ageless Athlete, and you'll find it at Amazon.
Cool.
And I have 6 children, so remember that. So
yeah, remember that. Oh, hold on. I want to use the new feature quick.
I'm loving the use of the features you've made.
This is really cool, guys. People who are watching, please give like a like and a share and all that if you enjoy this new streaming stuff. So see that? See what I can do now?
Love that.
We can do the advertising.
Excellent.
People out there who want to bribe us, this is what we can do for you. See it right there.
We at the Pat Flynn Show are not complacent.
We're always upgrading. Now check this out. There it is.
Yes.
Just have like the rotating advertisements at the bottom there. Love it. Yeah, we'll keep yours up so people can give you some use. Get Jim's book, guys. All right, let's take 1 or 2 more. This is fun, guys. Thanks for the good questions. I really appreciate it. Hopefully these answers are helpful. I'm being a little picky and choosy here because we can go a few minutes.
I'm good on time too.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, it's me who's the problem today. Ian says kettlebell chains or complexes or mix of two for hypertrophy, fat loss, fighter conditioning.
Oh, so Ian, are you actually training for a fight? That's one thing. Just if you can follow that up, let
Yeah,
us know.
just let us know, and your sport too, if you can. That will.
Okay, now but in general, yeah, I like complexes for gaining muscle and losing fat. Definitely. Okay. Um, but but it's in terms of fighting conditioning, right? You're getting ready for an MMA fight. You're getting ready for a jiu-jitsu tournament or a jiu-jitsu super fight or something like that. I think the best way to condition is training those sports, right? I don't think there's anything that conditions me for being on the mat than being on the mat.
There's nothing like it. Same thing for Taekwondo. If you've ever gotten into a series of just trying to kick somebody as fast as you possibly, there's nothing that mimics that type of conditioning that you need.
Yeah. And I know like really high level people will do lots of off the mat conditioning, okay, in the MMA world, but they're high level. They're getting everything they can out of their skill training. Right? They're getting everything they can, and they're not doing. They've done all the rounds they can without head injury and all that. Okay, and so I'm not saying don't do any off the mat conditioning, but make sure you're not, because I see people do this. You know, they're walking off the mat saying, "Oh, I got to work on my cardio." I'm like, "Well, come back. Let's roll for a half hour. Let's do that. That's going to make you much better." Yeah.
He says he's not training for a fight, but he boxes and is just learning BJJ. So there's some
Yeah. So my advice would be, if you want to muscle up, lose some fat, use those kettlebell complexes to do that. And in terms of your conditioning for your BJJ is, roll more rounds, drill more. I think that's going to help your conditioning more than anything that you'll do off the mat.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Keep it simple too. My old bare knuckle boxing coach, Brian, the guy I was talking about who would get knocked out, bottles cracked over his head. He had just like very simple complexes he would do for our conditioning, right? So we do rack holds, boom, 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 30 seconds to a minute, heavy, work the bags, boom, 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 kettlebell swings, jump rope, rack holds, work the bags, kettlebell swing, jump rope, and just put that on repeat. So we're getting like the specific. So like, we would still spar and all that other stuff, but he would find ways of incorporating specificity into the complexes and circuits itself, which was always, I thought, pretty neat.
Yeah. I mean, this is one is I like clubs so much. I like maces so much. I do think they have very good jiu-jitsu carryover, right? In addition to kettlebells, but once again, best way to condition for it is to actually roll rounds.
Yeah. Okay. One or two more. Grant says, what would be a good test to do every month or so to test fitness using kettlebells? A certain amount of swings? I think they meant to put a question mark there.
Yeah.
5-minute
snatch test. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you for the 5-minute snatch test, you do need a number of ducks in a row, so to speak, right? Yeah. You need to be pretty well conditioned. You need to be pretty strong. You need to have some decent power. You need to have fairly decent grip strength. You need to have good technique. Even if you got all the other stuff, if your technique isn't great, then you're probably not going to make it through. Yeah. I'm on board with that. Mm-hmm.
And if you're not ready for the snatch, because that's a technical acquisition, right? How many swings can you do without putting it down, right? Or do a 5-minute swing test, or that sort of thing. But I think timed tests for either swings or snatch is the way to go.
Yeah. And then if you be able to do a couple of pull-ups.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Cool. All right. We're gonna call it here, just because I know my wife is waiting to. My wife wants me to emphasize this, and it's totally deserved. Behind every good podcast is a wife shushing the children. So
it's just so. Look, I've left the house. Right. Mainly, I'm here because.
Yeah, please give a like and share for my wife's sake. She's like, my face is going to freeze in like the wrinkled shushing position. Podcast.
Quiet. Quiet. Your father hates you.
Father's talking.
No. We're really here because my son Brendan's fish tank is too loud.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I'm like, put some water in the fish tank so I do podcast at home.
Yeah. My wife is, of course, a saint, very gracious for her wonderful support during all this. So I'm going to go let her get to the baking. She's got some baking projects and whatnot. So, Jim, tentatively tomorrow, we'll pick this up and do a philosophy-themed one.
Yeah, cool. I think just given the tomorrow's day, will be very fitting for that. Yeah.
Yes. Tune in tomorrow. We'll do philosophy and theology, and we'll keep it just that. No fitness stuff tomorrow. We'll focus on that. Good. I hope you guys found this one interesting. Please do like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And let's do it one more time. There's the banner. Check out Jim's book, Ageless Athlete, over on Amazon. More coming. Where the steps are unfold. Good. All right, folks. Cheers.